DeSantis is a bad MFer. This man might be a political genius.
1 in a million to one villain. Too hot to be in the kitchen, I'll end up melting the ceiling.
This video is brought to you by ExpressVPN.
County in Texas is also investigating Ron DeSantis. They are accusing him of, quote, leaving migrants to fend for themselves in Martha's Vineyard. Here to respond, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. You know, the great irony in all of this is if we use the left's definition of racism and xenophobia, they're it. They define it based on their actions in Martha's Vineyard. What they're missing is Joe Biden has been flying and busing illegal immigrants every day all over the country and in the dark of night, just leaving them in the middle of the street. So why are they only now paying attention to 50 people that you sent?
You know, I find that funny because, like, I do recall that Joe Biden was, like, literally putting immigrants on planes and stuff and flying them out, right? And bringing them into the country. But forget that. That's neither here nor there, right? What I distinctly understand is not too long ago, this may have been a year ago or something, maybe not even that long ago, there were a bunch of migrants who literally died. They died in like the back of a van or something, or like the back of a semi-truck or something like that. They literally died. There was a bunch of them. And we got a little bit of coverage of it, but nobody went to this extreme lengths to say, yo, we have a big problem when it comes to people who are doing dangerous things to try to get into our country. It's costing the lives of people. It's putting them in the hands of cartel members and stuff of that sort. Like, you would think that if this matters so much to anybody, that those stories would get far more attention and needs to be addressed. But why does everything have to be so politicized, right? This is not a political issue, in my opinion. I think most people agree. We want to be able to welcome people into our country without them sneaking in. We want a process to where people can be, whatever you got to do to, like, make sure whoever you're letting in is worth letting in and has the proper requirements to get in the country without people having to sneak in and you don't know who's coming in. I think most people agree with that. Nobody should be anti-immigration. I don't think most people are anti-immigrant. I think most people just want to know who's coming in their country, how many people are coming in their country, and what they're bringing into the country with them. What are they offering? And I think that's the common thread. Why can't both sides just agree, like, hey, let's just fix the immigration process? You would think that would be simple. And we do need to enforce our borders. We do need to make sure that people just can't sneak in, but also create a process to where people don't have to wait years and years and years just to find out if they're eligible to come into the country. Like, it's not rocket science. I went on a tangent.
Well, Shaun, it's really frustrating because, you know, you've been covering this. Millions of people since Biden's been president illegally coming across the southern border. Did they freak out about that? No. You've had migrants die in the Rio Grande. You had 50 die in Texas in a trailer because they were being neglected. Was there a freak out about that? No, there wasn't. You've had criminal aliens get across that southern border and victimize Americans, killing some, raping some. Was there any type of outrage about that?
This is what people consider to be fake news. It's not necessarily that you're lying. What it's saying is you have selective outrage. When you choose what to care about and you choose what to broadcast and blast on the airways while ignoring other things which are worse or more detrimental, in turn, you're shaping and carving the narrative in your direction in which way you want it to be. And every side, every freaking political network that are like the big giants are guilty of this. This is not just a CNN problem. Fox does this all the time as well. They don't get a free hook off of this. Like, they don't get a pass on this. Like, they will cover certain things. Now, both sides will claim, oh, okay, well, we have to cover these things because the other side isn't covering these things. Once again, I got a gun to your head, you got a gun to my head. Neither one of us want to put the gun down, so we just hold ourselves at a stalemate the whole time. Nobody's willing to trust the other side to do the right thing. So we just lock ourselves into the system. And it's crazy because screw the elites, screw the people who make millions of dollars every year telling us what we should care about. Screw them. There are real people with real lives who suffer every single day because some of the decisions that's being made. There are illegal immigrants who are trying to get over here illegally, who are dying and putting themselves in danger, and their children and their families, right? And at the same time, there are people who are coming over here who are victimizing Americans. So how is this political again? But he makes a valid point. You're making selective outrage. You're choosing what to care about and what not to care about because it works. It fits your narrative. It allows you to continuously feed your base or the people who watch your shows or videos or whatever to one side. It increases that. And that's all this is about. Money.
No. And then, of course, we know fentanyl deaths are at an all-time high. Where's that fentanyl coming from? It's coming over the open southern border. It's only when 50 get put into Martha's Vineyard, which wasn't saying they didn't want this. They said they wanted this. They said they were a sanctuary jurisdiction. These were people who were basically destitute and then put in a situation where they could have succeeded, but that was all virtue signaling. And not only did they not welcome them, they deported them the next day with the National Guard.
Say what you want. DeSantis is dangerous. DeSantis is a bad MFer. When I say this man might be a political genius, like to understand, like it may be simple to us, right? Not everybody, they might not get this, right? But this man understands. You call yourself a sanctuary city. You say that this is a place where immigrants who are not documented can come and they'll be safe and they can thrive and we'll protect them and make sure they can't get deported, whatever the case may be. Okay, that's fine. Over here, they're not getting that. Wouldn't the best thing to be is for them to be where you are? And okay, well, let's help them get to where you are. DeSantis is, bro, this man might be a political genius. It's a simple concept, but like he's making a point because whether you agree with his actions or not, if you feel like it's a political ploy or whatever, one thing it does is it puts the foundational values of what people claim to the test. It causes people to analyze what it is that they actually stand for and what does it mean to stand for. Are you truly what you claim to be? And people have to have this conversation. So even if you disagree with him, you have to think about the idea of it, you know?
Give me a break.
Yeah, and by the way, just for the record, this was voluntary. All migrants were put up in hotels, given accommodations. They were fed, they were showered, they were offered haircuts and any other services that they were needed, correct?
Yeah, not only that, they all signed consent forms to go. And then the vendor that is doing this for Florida provided them with a packet that had a map of Martha's Vineyard. It had the numbers for different services on Martha's Vineyard. And then it had numbers for the overall agencies in Massachusetts that handle things involving immigration and refugees.
You don't have to do anything nefarious here to make this plan successful. You don't have to lie to these people. All you have to do is sit there and spell out exactly what these sanctuary cities are offering. It's enticing. Why wouldn't I want to go? If I'm somebody hiding from the law, if I'm somebody who feels like I can't operate and function in this place because I'm illegal, it would be very enticing for you to say, hey, if you go over here, you ain't got to worry about all that. Like, and this is all the stuff that they're offering. You don't have to do anything nefarious to get people to sign up for that, right? There are people probably in America right now who live in bad situations. And if you told them that they can go off to a better situation just by getting on a plane that I'm going to provide you, I'm going to give you food and water, whatever the case may be. I'm going to fly you there, and I'm going to give you all the information you need to start a better life. A lot of people would take it. You don't have to do anything nefarious here. Of course, they're going to try to find something nefarious, but at the end of the day, it's like DeSantis is... Look, the man is dangerous.
So it was clearly voluntary, and all the other nonsense you're hearing is just not true. And why wouldn't they want to go, given where they were? They were in really, really bad shape, and they got to be cleaned up, everything treated well, and then put in a situation. Because, Shaun, there are jobs available in Martha's Vineyard. There is lodging available in Martha's Vineyard. Had they lived up to what they build themselves at as a sanctuary jurisdiction, they could have absorbed those people without a problem. But here's the thing.
Oh my God, like the man is smooth. That man is slicker than a can of oil. When I tell you this, the man is polished. The man understands. Like, look, I'm laughing but the man his posture is like dead serious. And he's explaining this in a situation that not only could the people who agree with him understand, but if you're somebody who disagree with him and you're watching this, tell me, how do you poke holes in this argument that he's presenting right here, right now? How do you poke holes in this? This is very well thought out and very well intended. And I could have been a blue-haired liberal who's somebody who only votes Democrat, far left, Democrat socialist. I could have been that person. And if I was watching this, based on how he's laying it out, the only way for me to poke holes in his story is for me to misrepresent what he's saying or to straw man as many different positions as I possibly can, unimaginably, to try to make this thing sound worse than it is. The boy, you can't make this up.
They said they didn't have housing. They said they couldn't accommodate. Like, let's just say that's true for a minute. Well, what does that mean for these poor towns in Texas? What does it mean for these other places across the country that are seeing influx? What does it mean to these small towns that Biden has dumped so many people in?
Yo, when you have a rapid succession of like point after point after point after point that just keeps knocking down the opponent's arguments, like this man thought this thing through. He saw this a mile away. Before anybody else saw it, he had the thing mapped, planned out, executed it, and had all the arguments to back it up, right? It's like, okay, you're saying that you are a sanctuary city. You want people to be safe here and want to take care of people. You design programs for this, and yet you're complaining that you don't have the resources or you can't absorb these people in when that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, if you can't do it, how do you expect these other towns who are not equipped for this, who are not planning for this, to do it? It makes you ask the questions. Like him or hate him, the man is good as what he's doing. At least in this particular situation, the man DeSantis is something to be reckoned with.
And so I think what we've been able to do is show that this border is a disaster. Biden has failed on this as much or more than on any other policy. And now people are talking about it. And we want solutions as Americans. We want to make sure that Trump's policies of remain in Mexico can be reinstituted so we can get control over what's going on down there.
All right. So it's plainly spelled out, right? Now, that's DeSantis' version of what took place. And if this is his side, it's hard to poke holes in it. Plain and simple. Now, there's another side of the story. And I implore all of you to go find out what the other sides are and come to your own conclusion, right? But based on this logic that I'm seeing right now from DeSantis, he sounds as if he mapped this thing out, executed it perfectly, and his logic is sound and reasoning and reasonable. So I'll leave it there. You decide for yourself. Was it political genius, or was it just, am I missing something here? You gotta let me know.
1 in a million to one villain. Too hot to be in the kitchen, out in the melting the ceiling.